Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. I've got underneath one of my videos a comment. The comment comes from someone that did not give me permission to make a recording about this and say his name. So I'm going to make the recording here, but I'm not going to say his name because I don't have his permission. What he said is that, and this is underneath my video about lowering the libido and removing their weapon. He said that he's done this already, but that it has led to another result that he hates. And that is that he is being approached by men instead of women, because the men seem to have noticed that he does not chase women and that the women don't have a way to manipulate and control him. So they've decided to come and make their moves. And this shows a problematic psychology in our community. Now, to the commentator, I'm not blaming him. He didn't tell them to decide to come and approach him. And see, a lot of times when there are some guys in the community that get approached by men simply because they're not chasing pussy. Yeah, I said it. And so these men that are into men look at guys like this, and these guys don't have to flitter around like little fairies and act like they're interested in men. All they got to do is not be chasing behind these women, and what the hell happens? The men that are into men then come to them. Now, most men that are into men actually do not seek out straight men. Most men that are into men only want a man that's into other men. Most of them are not interested in trying to convert a straight man into their lifestyle. The problem is that this minority has no scruples. The minority that wants to do that has no scruples. They don't care how many partners they sleep with. It doesn't make a difference. The more, the merrier. So every man that fits that profile has a chance and a higher likelihood of being approached by some of these few men that are into other men. It's just like, bad women. Bad women that are, if she's going to commit robberies, set dudes up, she's going to do it again and again and again till she gets caught or shot. She's not going to stop at 2 and say, well, that's too many. But good women are probably going to say, look, I'm not going through 4 men in my lifetime. That's too many. I'm probably going to try it twice. If it doesn't work out the second time, there'll be no third. That's the difference. And this is the same way. Many men that are into other men, and I don't approve of the lifestyle. Don't get it twisted. I don't approve of that. But to be fair, many men that are into other men ain't going to do this. But the minority that think it's cute and funny to try to convert someone, they're going to be out there everywhere. Because if they convert 5, they can brag and stunt on the one that's only converted 1. If they can convert 50, they can stunt and brag on whoever's done it to only 49. So what's to stop them? So the commentator has now been noticed and approached by men that aren't even into women and are into men. And he closed out with, and the law is the truth. So what this means, brother, is that earth is not the hell, but it does seem like one. The hell, of course, is beyond the grave, and hopefully neither of us will make it there. We will certainly need Allah's mercy to not go there. But I will say this, we have to recall that hell in our religion is surrounded with the passions and the weaknesses of humanity. And paradise is surrounded by the hardships and the hateful things. This is why when both were created, I don't know if it was Mikhail or if it was Jibril, but when both places were created, at first, the angel said to Allah regarding hell, I don't think anybody will go there. And the angel said regarding the paradise, said back to Allah, I don't think anybody who hears about it won't go there. Then Allah surrounded each one with their surroundings, surrounded hell with the temptations and weaknesses and the passions of humanity, and surrounded paradise with the hateful things of humanity, the things we don't like. And then the same angel went and came back and said to Allah regarding hell, I think everybody's going to wind up there, and I don't think anyone's going to make it to paradise. In so many words. This is one of those things. I don't want you to have to go through this because it is still not natural. It's just that through no fault of your own, you've been left with no other option. And I'm sorry about that. I also want you to understand that, unfortunately, sir, it wasn't anything you did. But from what you have described, you are a black man with a so-called feminine complexion. Notice, I don't believe it's feminine, but many of us act like it is. And so the women that do like you and notice you are not going to let on that they do. They can't get away with that in today's time. They've all heard that light-skinned men are pussy and soft and that sort of thing. And so, being seen out in public, especially if you're really pale, to the point you're ambiguous looking, it's too much for them. They figure if they're going to do that, they just get them a white dude. And this idea is taking hold even in Africa to a certain extent. In South Africa, as I've said, Siam Tanda Mtolo has said she'll date a colored man that's light-skinned, but a black man that just happens to be light-skinned has no shot with her. She herself has said the dark-skinned man's got the whole alpha thing going on. And the other thing too is this is continuing on. This is not stopping. This whole stereotyping of really lighter-skinned men is not only as feminine and less masculine is not enough. There is a stereotype associated with us being gay, being not into women, or just being so soft we never get them. It can drive you mad if you're not careful. You're doing the right thing. Don't stop lowering the libido. If it's the fasting, if it's something nutritional that you eat or something you cut from your diet, don't stop doing it. But what I would say, though, is, one, we all got to work on a skill set that is going to be marketable outside of the West. But two, the other lesson for us to learn is that as much as I've told us that we have to tell these young men, starting with the ones in our families, exactly what the F it is that these women in the families don't want them to know, it is also equally important that we tell them that these dudes are going to come after them. Even though most men that like other men won't do it, the minority will be plenty enough to go around because they're not limiting themselves to any low numbers when they try these things. That's why it is that you, as a hetero man who does not chase the vagina, will get approached by men a hell of a lot more often than you would ever get approached by women, let alone attractive women that have this stuff together. You will get approached by masculine women. You will get approached by unhealthy women. You will get approached by burdened women, insane women, women who have something that's going to drive other men away. They will approach you. Men will approach you from what you said. Attractive women that have this stuff together wouldn't do it even if they want you. And it can drive you mad. It's driven some people mad before. I had a subscriber I had to block because he may have lost his mind from the frustration. He started advocating digging out trannies. And he one day said, I'm going to assault a woman. And I told him, you need to get help and don't do this stuff. The police, they could, any cop could check my stuff, find out who you assaulted, and then come after me because I didn't report it, even though I don't know where you live and couldn't tell you which, it wouldn't even know which police department to tell, even if I was going to rat you out like that. And this dude, he kept on talking about, yeah, man, I busted this hard nut in this tranny. And then one day later on, he came back and said, I did it. I assaulted her man. She's next. Shortly after that, I assaulted her. I think the frustration got to him. He was probably approached by dudes. And he actually started to tell me about this in response to one of my videos or recordings about gender-based colorism and the mistreatment of lighter-skinned or ambiguous-looking African-American men. That's where he came on. So he was pretty much saying, I'm a light-skinned dude too, and this is what's been going on. And I guess he was getting approached by these dudes, or these trannies, and he finally just said, oh, F it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't know if he was already into that or if he was convinced to practice situational homosexuality. I'm not sure which one. What I do know is that he holds a grudge against the women. He's already been driven mad to a certain extent. I don't think you're close to this, but I do want you to understand, I want all of us to understand, that when we tell these young brothers what they need to know about the games that women are going to play, apparently we need to tell them about the game that some men who like men are also going to play. Because that some is still enough to go around, as I've said before. It's like a robber. A benefactor may be able to help two people in their lives and change them around, but a robber can rob everybody blind until they get caught or shot. Same thing. We'll have to let them know because, see, I knew that this was one of the results. I knew that just having a manosphere, having a red pill aware group of men didn't mean that booty banditry was going to be on the rise like what women are saying, but I did know from jump that what it was going to do is that it was going to cause a lot of women. I knew it was going to cause a lot of women to say that these men are gay, and I knew that it was going to cause a few men that are like that and like to convert straight men to try this stuff. I knew that was going to be the case. I just thought that it was going to take a hell of a lot longer before anybody else would see the pattern. And sure enough, here you come. I recorded something about this before, but I don't remember if I uploaded it or not. I must not have. But then you've noticed the same thing. So this just means that we're going to have to tell our younger male relatives about that also as well a lot sooner than we would have expected. Because on the real, seriously, for real, unfortunately, it's already getting started. These cats are coming out, I wouldn't say coming out the woodwork, but these cats are going to come out not even in larger numbers. They're just going to be everywhere. It's going to be the same few going out after everybody that they know is red pill aware. Or they see just having bad luck with women. And we know most men ain't really, in the West, most men aren't even being treated respectfully by women that are attractive. So I'm really shocked they haven't tried it a lot sooner, but they did it when I was in school. Wasn't that many of them. But I didn't have trouble finding them, the few there were. I remember one, his name was Vern, for real. He talked like a normal dude, but then he'd be like, look, man, why don't you come lift weights with me, bro? And then, they got this hot tub, and then you take a shower after that, and you just feel like a whole new person. And that's exactly how we drug it out. He started leaving messages on my voicemail about that stuff. And some other dude said he was trying him too. The other guy looked like me. Yeah, that was just one. Another one had been a friend. Another one was a friend of mine for years. Damn near 4. But he had some little mannerisms about him, but he also had been raised only by his mother. But then one day he came out. And I said, okay, that's you. It's not me, though. I can't get down with the club scene that you're going to be into, so I can't go to these clubs with you. Forgive me, but I can't do it. And turned out that one of the reasons he told me was because our other friend, mutual friend, who was my family friend first, he wanted to get at him, even though that guy was straight. And he actually said to me at some point, because, women treated me like I was not completely worthless, but they treated me like, the way I described. And there was one day he even said, look, stop pursuing them. And I said, well, yeah, certainly. I mean, it's dangerous for me to do that anyway. But then at some point I'd have to protect my reputation too. And he said, don't worry about that. Be bisexual and go with the flow. And I was like, but I'm not bi. That's against my flow. I'm not bi. What do you mean? I suspected him at that point, but I wanted proof and I got it. These are just two examples. Only two. I can remember a third, but although I never had a fist fight since high school, we came pretty close. I had to throw him. But the point I'm making is that it didn't really take much. You see, I was never into dudes. I wasn't hanging around cats that were, not that I knew of. I was nice to anybody, but I wasn't spending time with and partying with those cats that were into dudes that anybody else knew was into dudes. It was none of that stuff. It was as simple as yellow bone dude. Women they wasn't admitting that they were feeling, unless of course they didn't have many other options. Now, big, stank breath, yeah, they might admit that. And these cats were scoping it out. And I've come to understand that. So you're not alone in what you had to face, but just make sure that it doesn't drive you mad. Make sure it doesn't do that, because I'm sure you've already picked up some violent impulses along the way from this. And those are completely natural. You're not wrong and you're not psychotic because you want to saw their heads off and record it and tell the rest of them, leave me the F alone, I'm not into this stuff. You're not wrong for that. It sounds psychotic the way I say it, but that's not wrong. That's just a part of self-defense. You ain't into that. Day off. You're not running around here like the Shawty police enforcing that on them, even though our religion has it listed as a capital crime. You still leave them be. How come they can't leave you be? So you're not wrong for feeling the way you feel, aggravated and irritated by it. Just don't let them drive you insane. Stay focused on the goal of eventually getting out the West. Because in all honesty, we're not going to be able to vote ourselves out of this shit. As I'm recording this, the polls they've been open about half a day. Most of them. Well, about half the polls in the U.S. have been open for about half a day at the time that I'm recording this. But you'll probably hear it late at night the next day, or you're going to hear it later on. But what I did want to tell you is that we're not going to be able to vote. The options to vote ourselves out of this are not even on the ballot. A lot of us have come to think that Trump would bring us closer to that. But no, that's not the case. Because Trump can't legislate. He can execute. And he's not going to be able to legislate a lot of these changes at the state level, which is where much of this is handled. That's the end of it. I hope that one day my recording here will not be necessary. And in the meantime, until that day, I hope it helps, bruh. Black heart, black mind, black out, black male first. Assalamu alaikum.